In terms of doubt, I think that's really been kind of a big part of my career in general is kind of wrestling with doubt, learning to overcome that and really just trying to grow that deep inner belief that I'm capable, that I'm good enough. And there's so many times, G League, college, certainly in the G League, when you're taking multiple commercial flights, crammed in the back of an airplane, 8-hour layovers in random airports, like that sort of thing. It for sure creeps in your mind of, all right, well, am I good enough? Am I capable? And, for me, it's just always been about just staying consistent with the work and just continuing to show up every day. And, if you do that, you at least give yourself a chance.
Was it epic when you put on that Heat jersey and stepped on for the first time? Can you describe that moment a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it was a surreal feeling for sure. So this was early on. It was my first year. We were playing the Knicks at home, and I was set to fly to Sioux Falls the next morning. I had been up for a little bit, but I had been active in some games, but hadn't checked in yet. And right before the game, one of our players, one of our rotation guys, like a late scratch. He had like an injury that was nagging him, and he was just like, "No, I'm not going to play." So all of a sudden, I was not only going to be suiting up, but also there's a pretty good chance I was going to be in the rotation. And that first moment, just stepping on the floor in an NBA jersey, is like, it's a culmination of all of the basketball experiences, life experiences, all the work that you put in. So definitely was a seminal moment for me, for sure.
Was there a moment in that first year you're like, I can play in the NBA? Like you were like, I can do this?
Yeah, I mean, there's, I like to call them like reference points looking back. There's little moments that stick out to me in terms of just kind of building and growing that confidence. I wouldn't say that there is necessarily one, but my first year was a little bit chaotic because I was back and forth a lot. But just something as simple as going out there and getting my first bucket is one, and then also contributing to a win for the first time was definitely another. And really, my second year, I started to be in the rotation a lot more, and that was kind of my kind of arrival to the NBA. And that year in particular was a year full of firsts. My first start, my first 20-point game, like all this sort of stuff that just really started helping me build my confidence.
I love that. Was there a player? When Steph Curry has a story when he checked in and he slapped Kobe and Kobe kind of talked shit to him. Was there a time when one of your like childhood idols, you got to match up and you had a funny story?
I mean, it's always surreal, or was. It's not really as much anymore, but like playing LeBron is, we all grew up watching LeBron, you know what I mean? And to see him continue to dominate the NBA the way that he has. And, the crazy one for me for that was when we played him in the finals. And I'd watched LeBron play in the finals countless times, and all of a sudden, like, I was on the team that was standing in the way of getting his next ring. And I had to get over that, like, of course, because there's kind of that hype leading up to game one, and there's so much that goes into the finals that I didn't even realize in terms of like media coverage and just exposure and all these storylines and these narratives, like all the off-court stuff. And eventually, like, once the game started, it was just basketball again, which was great. But and then I was just able to play, and all that stuff just kind of went away. But leading up to the series, there was definitely some kind of wrestling with that. Just trying to, it was like an exciting, anxious kind of feeling, but definitely one I won't forget.
Yeah, that's wild. Within 2 years, being in the G League and then now playing against LeBron in the finals, that's one you'll tell your kids about, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was, I mean, I went from playing in front of basically empty gyms in the G League, and actually the finals happened to be empty as well because it was in the bubble, but nonetheless, the biggest stage of basketball. So it was a crazy year, whirlwind for sure, but absolutely thankful for all of it.
So are you a shit talker? You throw some jabs at Bron at all?
I mix it in, man. I'm not like overly confrontational, but I'll every now and then I'm strategic with it. You know what I mean? I got to be calculated. I'm not one of those guys that can just go, running his mouth to anyone all the time. More so, I use it strategically here and there.
What? How so?
Just like, honestly, for me, it's oftentimes more so like getting myself to like a place mentally. Like if I start yapping or talking, it activates me in a way. You know, it's kind of like that old saying of like act your way into feeling and believing. So, you know, if I'm not maybe totally like in the rhythm of things, like just start running my mouth for no good reason and just saying shit, and then eventually your mind and body just will follow.